Alright guys, it's Noah here with Custom RC Mods, and today, as you can see, we've got two of my favorite plank planes right here in shambles. That's right, both the FT Arrow and the FT Goblin are completely destroyed. They met their demise into the turf, and I can't repair them at this point. I've repaired the Arrow over and over, had a solid life. However, that brownout crash just completely destroyed the airframe, so we're going to have to start from scratch. That's not a big deal. It's going to be a lot cleaner. I've got some more improvements coming down the pipe for that plane, but the Goblin over here, I was actually flying yesterday, and I paid the price after getting too comfortable, did a low-speed pass. It's a really jittery, sensitive airplane with my rates and my expo that I turned all the way up, and it was just, I paid the price. Pilot error on that one, just rolled it right into the ground. So yeah, we're going to be building both these planes in the this video right here. I thought I'd combine them together just because obviously they have their individual original build videos. I'll have those linked in the description below. If you want to see one of these planes in detail, you can find them there. But let's just go through some slight improvements I'm going to be making, mainly to the Arrow, but I've got a few for the Goblin as well. The Arrow, I'm taking out the light kit from the inside. I think this is just a little bit too fast of an airplane to be having a light kit in it. It's not really suited for night flying, obviously being so fast, and it's hard to keep orientation enough during the day. So I think if we get rid of the light kit, it's going to be a little bit faster and lighter and better. As well as I'm going to be getting rid of the center pod in here, just because I think that will give more structural advantage to this airplane. One thing about this is the break in the wings right here, going to the vertical structural walls of the center pod, just gives it a lot more opportunity to fail. And all of the Arrows I built, there's been a little bit of unwanted dihedral after flying them for a little bit. Plane lasts as long as possible. I'm just going to smooth it over straight to a point, no center pod. As well as I'm going to be taking away the airfoil creases in here. I'm just going to mold the foam over, and hopefully that's going to make it look a little bit more sharp, as well as streamline the design and make it more aerodynamic for faster flight, because speed is a big deal to me, especially on this fast mini Arrow. I'm also going to be making some slight improvements to the winglets and covering it in packing tape for durability purposes. So yeah, the Goblin, just adding some more detail in the nose section. If you watched the original build, it didn't really turn out how I liked it to, but you can see now I have the perfect opportunity to try it again and learn from my original mistakes. So if I add some more time and effort into this, hopefully it's going to be a lot more clean. But the Goblin also has the wing here, and one thing I dislike about this wing is that the undercamber right here adds a real point of weakness. So I'm going to add some popsicle stick in here just to give it some more strength, because my first time I kind of cartwheeled this on the ground. In a normal plane, that really wouldn't be that much of an issue. However, you can see this completely compromises the structural integrity of this left winglet. But other than that, I'm going to keep this wing around because it is in decent shape. Just remove the vertical stabilizer. There's lots of wrinkles around it, but if I need one in a pinch, we'll be good to go. So yeah, that's it for my improvements. Obviously, we have both of my plans right here, as well as all the electronics needed. The only main electronic upgrade is the receiver, of course, for the Arrow. This is a Spectrum AR610. It's a genuine Spectrum product, so hopefully that's going to perform a lot better. But yeah, same 2208, 2600 over here, and 2207, 2700 over here for the Goblin. Same servos, same linkages, which is one thing. I don't have to recut new ones. So it's going to take less time. I've got my firewall situation all figured out, and we'll be good to go. Hopefully I can get both these planes done here in the next 24 hours or so. That's a lofty goal. However, I finished all my schoolwork and all the other stuff I have to do for this time. It's pretty much the weekend at this point. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to building on these planes. Again, got both my plans all ready to go, and these are both 2-sheet foam planes, so it shouldn't take that long. So yeah, stay tuned for these time lapses, and we'll reconvene at the end once I've got both these planes built. Alright guys, so I just finished the build for the FT Mini Arrow. It took me about 6 hours from beginning to end, with a little bit of a break in between. I had to wait for my bullet connectors to come, as well as most of this was just putting the packing tape over the airframe. That's really a time-consuming procedure. However, I'm really glad I did it because it's so smooth. It really feels nice, as well as it's going to make this thing super strong and probably like waterproof at this point, because there's not an inch of this plane that is not covered in this packing tape or duct tape, and I really, really like that.
So yeah, as you can see, we made this little motor pod. So essentially, my motor mount is too big for the width of this airfoil right here. So I had to make a little pod covering right there. Just took some foam, hacked away at it, made a custom little fuselage, and hopefully it's still going to be aerodynamic. And it obviously looks really good in my opinion right there. Again, same motor. This is a different prop. This is a 6x4.5 bullnose prop on here, spinning clockwise instead of counterclockwise. But that's nice. We also got the bullets in, so I basically was able just to do plug and play on this. I had to solder that up if you saw that during the time lapse. I'm not totally sure, but that's gonna make it so I can just switch it just here in a second rather than going in and cutting my wires and resoldering them every single time. We did also modify the winglets here. You can see they're a different shape than the normal ones. The normal ones are more like a football shape almost, maybe with just a flat end on the back. But these are more streamlined, and the nice thing about this is that they have a flat bottom, which is going to be good for landing on, as well as just the amount of material below the wing is a little bit less, so it's not going to get bent as easily. And yes, I did cover the winglets in packing tape too. As you can see, they really get abused as you fly more and more, so we overlapped the ends right here, and hopefully we should be good to go for the long term. But yeah, our receiver is right on the inside in this compartment right here. If I ever wanted to put FPV gear or any other, timing system or anything like that, I can go ahead and put that in that little compartment right there. But I'm really happy overall with this build. You can see we've got our tape scheme for good orientation, as well as just overall, I made sure to improve the airfoil design here. Obviously, no ribs like there are on the normal design. This is so smooth. It looks so good. And all around, I'm just really, really excited for where this arrow is going to take me. Hopefully, it's going to be nice and fast. It's going to be responsive, yet really smooth in the sky. But we'll head out to the park in the next video to test this out. Anyway, the next order of business is the FT Goblin. I'm going to get it started tonight. Hopefully, get most of the pieces cut out before I have to hit the hay, and we can finish it up tomorrow morning. And then we'll have two working, plank planes that I've really missed having in the fleet over the past few days. But yeah, now we can do the honors, and we can go ahead and hang this up right on the wall where it goes, just like that. Beautiful right there. And it's time to go ahead and focus our attention to the FT Goblin.
Alright guys, so it's about noon the next day, and we got both of these planes ready to hit the skies. I got the actual airframes finished last night. However, on the Goblin I had to do some configuring and set up my servos and things like that. And on the Arrow I had to work on the battery mount system. But let's start over here. I obviously already covered the Arrow in that little middle segment that I did. But we can say goodbye to this airframe now. I'm going to get the light kit out of it, but it's going to be gone. This plane is a little bit bigger than the original Arrow. It's probably about 105%. Just for better high lift tendencies, as well as obviously I did reshape the airfoil and laminate it, and I can say that this thing is super strong, especially without the center pod. I think the center pod is the weak point of the Arrow. Every single Arrow I've built with the center pod has died basically by snapping in half right along that center pod wall. So I don't anticipate that one coming apart just like it did there. You can also see I did this center pod fuselage thing. I already mentioned that. We're not going to go into that. But we can see we don't need the Goblin parts anymore either, because we've got a fresh Goblin. It's not quite as clean as my last Goblin was, but that's okay. One thing I did change is I changed my receiver placement down to below the fuselage here, because obviously the servo wires are a little short coming out of there, so I just dug it into the wing. I had a antenna pointing out this way and an antenna pointing out this way, so it's going to be good for antenna placement, as well as it's just kind of out of the way of my battery compartment in general. For batteries on these planes, I am going to be running a 1300 milliamp hour like I did previously on both of these. However, I have the opportunity to run this 2200 on the Goblin and take away some of that nose weight, as well as run this 700 milliamp hour and take away some of the drag on the Arrow caused by this huge battery. So we'll test these out and see which one works better. I may be upgrading to a 4S setup on either of these planes here in the coming days or weeks, depending on how they fly. But I think at the moment they're both set up really well for this flight. So yeah, any of the original build notes I have on these planes can be found in their original build videos. However, the Arrow is quite a bit different than the original Arrow that I built, obviously. So I really am happy with this. I'll probably be doing a follow-up video once I get this thing flown, just talking about how I feel about it in terms of this lamination, as well as the smooth molded leading edge. And you can also see on the Goblin here, I did the same exact thing. It's less noticeable, but the leading edge is molded over rather than having those distinct ridges in there that cause weakness. So yeah, I also went and put some popsicle sticks in the leading edge just so that there is more structural support on the under-cambered wingtips. But other than that, that's pretty much it for the differences on this FD Goblin. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the rebuild here. I'm really happy with the end result of these planes. Hopefully they'll serve a full life on this YouTube channel. But you guys can stay tuned for the end result with that. Obviously, I also got a huge battery shipment in, so we can test some different size batteries out on these planes and see which one performs the best. And I'm really excited. So stay tuned for an upcoming flight video with each of these planes individually. I'm really excited to get them up into the air and see how they perform. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.